So, are you feeling nauseous yet from all these ups and downs? Now, I bet my ass you have one question on your mind right now. Why hasn't the stock market crashed yet, right? I'm here to answer that very question. Stay with me for 5 minutes, and if I deserve your support and respect, the simple thing you can do for me is the like and subscribe button, which is more of a thing for you. And yeah, let's get into this. So, what have we seen really? First of all, those who have watched my video yesterday, I've literally said that's exactly what we're gonna have. We will see the stock market recover and go potentially all the way to the 7,000 area, which surprise, surprise, exactly as I've said, it will play out. We of course have generated a new gap somewhere right here on the bottom at around 68 to 68.20, 129, but roughly $30, $29, right? So on the grand scheme of things, the markets played out exactly as I expected them to. More so, we're back at testing the very same support and resistance levels that I was talking about for the last several weeks. We've seen them at play multiple times. Surprise, surprise, here they are again, right? Tremendously accurate, as you can see. Also, as you can see, something I've been highlighting very often about the behavior of the price action is the flattening of the curvature of the trend. You see that diagonal sort of movement is definitely not the same angular movement as we're having with this price action, right? You got to agree that it's visible even to a sea turtle. No offense to any sea turtles out there, right? Love you all. So, given the price action that we're seeing, let's go over the momentum. The short range, again, the 1 minute doesn't matter all that much given the hour. We are roughly about an hour and 40 minutes away from market close for today. It's not that indicative. What we are seeing probably is that interplay between these levels and the slippage level that we are currently residing at. So not that significant. If we're looking 5 minutes, just a little bit further out, what we are seeing is the convergence, the confluence, the crossover of the forces again. So once we cross over and become bearish dominant, surprise, surprise, it happened exactly roughly at the levels we expected it to happen. And now we're basically moving along, transferring from being bullish into bearish. In fact, that transition is right here visible through that bullish sort of nature of the trend. Now suddenly it's gone flat, right? So we are preparing to go more bearish. Not yet, but we're moving towards it. Again, if you watched yesterday's video, I literally said that will be the play. Another thing here, we are still above the 50 range on the stochastic RSI, which means we're more bullish than bearish. We are bearish at face value, given that our the red line is dominant. And pointing to the downside, but we are seeing the crossover of the forces, which implies some form of confluence right here, some interplay that will potentially hold us off at these general levels, again roughly at around 7,000, if you will. If you want to sort of look at the higher range of that band, is still 7,000. The lower range of that band for now is 6929.95. That's $6,929, if you will. You may as well call it 6,930 if you really insist on it. I wouldn't be mad. Now, of course, there are plenty of other support and resistance levels that we know and we rely on. In fact, the major closest one, the strongest support level we have is actually at 6,835.36, as you can see right there. Right below that, we have 6,792.62 and a whole set of other support resistance levels, which of course have been relevant many times. And by the way, here it is. I've depicted to you exactly how the play will end up playing generally. Surprise, surprise, we actually ended up doing that. You see why we don't try to predict the time of how long something can take, but we can predict the occurrence. You can say I'm wrong, you can say I'm right. I don't really care. I know I am correct, and if you don't like it, boo-hoo for you. Go be mad. Write me an angry email, Now, 45 minutes, we are now looking to the downside, just as I said yesterday. Once we'll complete that bullish momentum that was appearing on the charts yesterday, or the other day, I think yesterday that I made the video, that we saw in preparation that down sort of upwards pressure was spent, and now we're transitioning and shifting over back to our bullish trend. Now we're probably going to see this downward trend come to fruition within the following sessions. It may last the process to moving from a bullish trend to a bearish trend sometimes can last a whole week, sometimes can take a day, sometimes can take 2 weeks. But realistically speaking, if we're looking at how momentum is setting up right now, it appears to be that we are in the short term going to see more and more of that shift over. In fact, if we are very sharp, we can see that the market is still retaining that downtrend overall. And of course, it will stay predominant throughout the following sessions. We'll see more of that downwards pulling rather than to the upside. Of course, upside will be corrective until it won't. That's the funny thing, until it will simply run out of momentum and won't have enough to correct on the downtrend, and then we'll start falling faster and faster and faster downwards. And that's the emotional roller coaster that everybody's experiencing. And the real reason the market hasn't crashed yet, we're coming to it, here it is. The reason is that we're still having confluence. The market is still going through the process. That process actually may last multitude of months from here on out, actually, that we're going to be pulled up and down, up and down, up and down, generating this overall downtrend until the market will realize that we are going downwards, or will start seeing more capitulation, and then the market will of course break down more severely, locking those who were not willing to sell off around any of these areas, forcing them to sell over here, and which, if they were not willing to sell here, guess what? They will not sell here. It's kind of simple, getting them locked in, waiting for the next cycle, hoping that everything will be fine, convincing themselves, oh, we've seen the market do this before. But how do you know this time around it's going to be this and it's not going to be any worse? Why do you think this time around it's not going to potentially drop to 3,300, for example? Of course, not right away, gradually, as you understand. These things do not happen overnight. There's a process to be had. It's not just, you wake up in the morning and suddenly the market drops 1,000 points, right? I mean, it can, hypothetically, but it probably won't. It probably will be a gradual decline with some corrective movements to the upside, but eventually declining lower and lower and lower. Why are we thinking that? Why are we thinking the market will break? Which, by the way, kind of is part of the interplay to why it hasn't crashed yet, right? It's because that process, similarly, an analogous I like to use in the community in general in some of my speeches, think about it this way. When a big tanker moving and accumulated momentum, moving forward, and has relative great speed, relative to its scale and everything, of course, now that it shifts over its gears and now it is full on in reverse, that momentum that was generated forward will still be retained for quite a long period of time until it will be completely brought up utterly to zero, and only then the momentum will start building up and generating to the reverse side, to the back side of things. Meaning that process, given how the scale of the market and the scale of the cyclicality and the processes that actually there to be had, these processes are very prolonged. And I warned about these. I warned about this, that these processes can take all the way from months to years. But the problem is that a lot of people are not aware of, and again, join the community, patreon.com/Gregory H, right? So you'll be in the know, just like it says right above me, right there. $50 tier right now discounted. Next month it will be $70. So the reason is that process is prolonged, and it can be prolonged, and that's why I warned about this. Many months ago, I said this may be the behavior. Does that change the overall structure of the cycle? No, it doesn't. The cycle will still play out the way it needs to. And so right now, everything that convinces people that everything will be fine is actually very temporary. Why? Because if we're still looking at our monthly, we've been squeezed to death. We've ran through our larger scale momentum. That tanker actually slowly but surely have been brought down to a halt, and now it will kick into reverse. Now, kicking into reverse the same way that slowing down from that generated momentum in the first place is slow. It does not happen overnight. It does not happen over a week, nor does it happen over a month. Yes, it can be occurring over a series of several months and relatively rapidly, but it also can take as long as half a year, almost a year, just to generate the momentum for the drop. Realistically speaking, is that how long we think that's going to take? No. Why? Because when you're aware of the cycle and you understand the partitions in the cycle that needs to occur before the cycle is ready to turn over to its back end, which is completely bearish, utterly and completely bearish, and usually, not usually, it leads to always leads to a drop of anywhere between 80 to 50% from the actual price of the stock market, regardless of how far, how low we are in relative to what we were. None of it matters. All of it has to do a lot more with the cyclicality. So there I go again. I invite you to the Discord. I invite you to the community, patreon.com. / Greg _ Ori _ H, like this, like it says right there. So you can learn, so you can be independent. So next time the market, which is just around the corner, is about to go into another roller coaster sort of rally and drop, and how do you know this time around it will rally back up? Where is that confidence coming from? Wouldn't you really want to know? I mean, let's say you're right. Wouldn't you want to know you're right? Join the community. Do this for yourself before it's too late, before the market starts going bananas again, and you'll be lost and frustrated and emotional and do all the wrong things. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your portfolio. You're an independent adult. You should be in charge of your portfolio. What I can do is help you and teach you how to read the price action and do proper analysis over the price action, as we call it, technical analysis, which again should imply the idea that it stems from numbers and data, which, if done right, is tremendously accurate and can be very well predictive if you do use it right. I've been doing that every single day in my community on the Discord. Here you go, boys and girls. Here, let me show you my Discord. Let me brag a little bit. Every single day for the community, usually in the morning, I post updates about the charts, price action, what do we predict and expect to happen. As you can see, so far the price action has been playing out with about 98% accuracy. In fact, we make fun of it, how consistently the market is random and how consistently I can predict the behavior and the support and resistance levels over and over again. By the way, funny enough, it's the very same support and resistance levels oftentimes. You need to know about them in order to understand that the market will behave one way or another around them, right? You can't be prepared for something you're not familiar with nor aware of, and then you simply cannot see it in the chart, so how can you be prepared for it? So join the community so you will be prepared for the next time, okay? Again, patreon.com, yeah? Discounted, $50 tier right now, next month, $70. Don't want to join? Come crying next month when you'll be confused and you'll know that somehow this Greg dude knows and analyzes the charts correct again and again and again. Of course, I highly recommend joining the One-on-One Academy. That is the highest tier you can join. You join that simply via applying in the Need Help channel right here, or if you're already in the Discord and part of the members in the support channel. If you're not, do not stay in limbo for too long like this person, okay? If you're staying in limbo and you don't actually have a member role, you'll be kicked out. So yeah, join in. One-on-One Academy, by the way, yeah, probably should mention that. Like I said, there's still one spot in the One-on-One Academy, which gives you a lifetime membership for the community. Of course, anywhere between 10 to 12 lessons with me, not including the weekly sessions, which we have 2 of, and we're about to have our academy meeting today, actually in about half an hour, and many other perks that I probably cannot remember and think of. You can see some of these things depicted right there in the thingy, right in the banner. So join the community so you'll not be confused, and you'll know exactly why the stock market is sort of, delaying this, and how soon will it actually break, and when the market will give all the signs that it is about to break. You will not be confused like the rest of the people, and will not be running around like a headless chicken needing to decide what to do last minute. In fact, you'll be far more prepared and understand exactly why the price action behaves the way it does, what are the forces that are leading to this, and all that beautiful stuff. You all have a wonderful week. I'll see you in the community. I'll see you in the next video. And if you don't mind and I earn your respect, please like, support, join. All the links are in the description below. And yeah, see you in the next one. Peace out.